Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I'm a writer for the Viking Age Zone coverage and Bring Me the News as well as the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age. And we do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We can spread the word to the masses. Adam, welcome back. It's Combine Week. Which are you more excited about? The Combine or all of the news that's going to come from outside of the Combine at St. Elmo's, down at the Lonely Shoe, where everybody's throwing money around trying to get Kirk Cousins? What are you looking forward to?
I love this time of year. I love all the news and the rumors that come out. It's just speculation season. SZN,
Yes.
as the cool kids like to spell it. Because the combine, it's cool every now and then. A guy runs like a 4.2 40 or something like that, or somebody puts up like 30 reps of 225. It's like, oh wow, cool. But like for the most part, a lot of these guys now don't even really participate in the drills. They just wait till their pro day to do stuff, and they're basically going there for the interviews and measurements and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely look forward to more of the speculation and rumors to come out. I know Kwesi, Adolfo Mensa, and Kevin O'Connell are speaking tomorrow. I don't expect them to say anything of real relevance on the podium. They usually do a little media Twin Cities scrum afterwards. At least Kwesi did last year, and more seems to come out of that. And then, of course, I think they interview with K-Fan and stuff, and I don't expect them to say anything on there either.
Hey, Kwesi, what's your top 5 slow jams of all
I
time?
think they
Can you
asked
please?
about his favorite rappers last year. I'm not even
Yeah.
joking. You're at the combine. This is what you're asking.
Top 5 rappers alive. Dylon, and Dylon. They all Dylon.
Dating yourself right there.
I am, but it's great.
But yeah, this time of year is fun because you're not supposed to talk to anybody, but also, Kirk Cousins conveniently releases a video today of, oh, look, everybody, my rehab is going great. I can drop back. Look at me. No, it's just a coincidence that it's the start of Combine Week. It doesn't even. I just wanted to post this so everyone could see it.
Acknowledge him. Acknowledge the head of the negotiating table, Kirk Cousins. We'll get to Kirk in a little bit here, but we're going to talk about something that could potentially keep Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, and that's more money. The salary cap went up. Salary cap went up to $255 million. The NFL announced that on Friday. It is a 13.6% increase over last year's salary cap. It is the largest salary cap increase in terms of cap since it was installed in 1994. Teams were projecting about $240 to $250 million for the cap next season. And the Vikings now have $35.8 million in cap space heading into the offseason. So, Adam, how should the Vikings use this newfound money?
First, send a thank you card to Taylor Swift for helping out with increased no. I think it just makes it easier to get maybe a deal done quicker with like someone like Justin Jefferson, and maybe it increases the possibility of bringing back the Neil Hunter. I don't know if it really changes anything with Kirk Cousins because one, I feel like they've already decided pretty much what they're going to do with him. I don't expect anything to really change this week whether they talk or not with his agent. And with the salary crap, I guess Freudian slip there.
It is crap when you think about it.
It really is. The salary cap increasing. Kirk Cousins is going to, and his representation are going to be like, oh, well, now we can ask for more money. So yeah, I don't think it increases or decreases any chances of him returning to the Vikings, but I think it makes it a little bit easier. They have a little bit more wiggle room for the Vikings to sign someone like a Justin Jefferson, and then maybe go after one of those top free agents that you maybe didn't think you could get before.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of both ways. I mean, I do think it helps you in free agency when you go out there. I think, some people have gone online and they've been like, oh, yeah, now we can bring everybody back. We can bring Justin Jefferson back. We can bring Daniil Hunter back. We can bring Harrison Smith back.
No.
The salary cap didn't just go up for the Vikings, it went up for all 31 teams. So when I look at this, you basically have the same problem that you had before. Everybody's going to ask for a little bit more money. Everybody sees that. So, I mean, even Justin Jefferson's going to be like, hey, can I get like 5, 10 extra
37
million,
a year?
little extra in there, maybe just possibly. Like, this team needs a lot of things. It does. And I know there's some pushback to that being like, well, I mean, they're better than the Bears. They have the same record as the Bears last season. The Lions are better than you. The Packers made the playoffs, and they have Jordan Love at quarterback and a whole bunch of scrubs around him. Yes, a very young roster. You're behind the 8 ball. You need to load up at some point here, and that's why you see all these people jumping online being like, "Well, trade Justin Jefferson," even though you won't get as much as you think for Justin Jefferson. But that's beside the point.
What did Spielman get for Percy Harvin? Did he get 2 first-round picks?
He got I looked this up for an article today. He got a first-round pick.
Oh, and then he traded back in the first round.
They got a first-round pick, and that was Xavier Rhodes. They got a 7th-round pick, and I don't know who the heck that was. It doesn't matter. And then they got it was funny how they reported it at the time of the trade. So it was a mid-round pick, which could be anything, but it was actually a 3rd-rounder, and they used that to select Jerick McKinnon. So they basically got Xavier Rhodes and Jerick McKinnon for Percy Harvin.
I mean, with the way Percy Harvin's career turned out after that, seemed like a pretty fair trade.
But I mean, there were warning signs about Percy Harvin too, that he wasn't going to last.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson isn't throwing any dumbbells at Kevin O'Connell in the weight room.
That would be very. Hey, Justin, I'm going to give you a game. Oh shit! If you keep doing that, you're not going to get any more game balls, Justin. None of this weight plate stuff. I'm using this money and I'm saying, Justin Jefferson, what do you want? What do you, if it's like something insane, like you want Kirk Cousins money, like I said last week, if it's something insane, you got to consider trading him. But I mean, this gives you less of an excuse. You have more money. You have a generational talent. You should pay him. Christian Darrisaw, that's another guy that you got to pay. I would use that money towards him. I would earmark. Like, for me, I am not focused on the present at all. My mind is on the future beyond 2024. Do I want to win in 2024? Of course I do. I think there's enough pieces to win, especially, with the NFC next season. But I want to build this thing. I want to take a step forward next year, and I want to build this thing into a Super Bowl roster. And I mean, if you're going to throw a whole bunch of money, let's bring Kirk back. Let's bring Daniil back. Let's bring, I'm in favor of bringing Daniil back. Like Harrison Smith. Yeah, now we don't have to cut it. No, like, you need to have a level head about this and not just be like, now we can just force everything into 2024 and go all in.
Run it back. Come on.
Run it back.
Run it back. Run it back to that great season they just had and the year before where they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Giants. Run it back. Yeah, like everyone's got a lot more money now, so everyone can offer even, teams who might not have been in or Kirk Cousins sweepstakes might think they're in there. And I know the Broncos were thrown out the other day, and they're not even under the cap yet. So I'm not really sure how they're going to do that, but it's also Sean Payton's team, and Sean Payton's known for his teams being like 150 million, over the cap every year. So the Saints are still doing that. They're still recovering from life with Sean Payton as their head coach. But yeah, I think with Justin Jefferson, and like, it's getting to the point now, I think I'm guilty of this too, where it's not even like quarterback money anymore. Quarterback money is going to be like 55, 60 million a year. Like, that's what we're getting up to. And so wide receivers like Justin Jefferson getting paid 35, 37 million a year. It's comparable to, what it was before when quarterbacks were getting 30 million and receivers were getting 15 million, something like that. So it looks like a lot. It is a lot of money, but it's just a result of the salary cap increasing and guys being able to make more money. So it's a lot of money, but I think he's worth it because I think I talked last time about how some people will be like, "Oh, he only gets the ball like 9 or 10 times a game." Yeah, but he impacts the game way more than that. He makes life a lot easier for guys like Jordan Addison and Hawkinson when he gets back, and even the running game. So yeah, make sure the Vikings need to lock him down. I think I did see something. One of the Vikings aggregator accounts or whatever posted that Paul Allen was like emphatic today about the Vikings having zero interest in trading Justin Jefferson. So um, I think we're good on that front. I think that was just some fun off season talk, hopefully. But you never know these days, I guess.
I saw somebody tweet out, it's a coincidence. Like everybody from every one of the 31 other teams is like, they should trade Justin Jefferson.
yeah,
Like, they should
of course they
definitely
should.
get rid of him.
Especially, did you see the was it Adam Rank the other day
Yeah. Yeah.
who's a known Bears fan, and he has a Bears podcast. He's like, the Vikings should trade Justin Jefferson. Oh, really? Really?
You should also take Justin Fields in the first round of your fantasy
You
draft.
guys should keep Justin Fields and trade away your first round pick to the Vikings.
Christian McCaffrey, fuck that shit. You want Justin Fields at quarterback. I know quarterbacks don't matter, but this guy's special. He's basically a running back.
Listen,
In
just
fantasy
swap
football.
Fields and Cousins. Cousins goes to Chicago. Grew up a Bears fan, and Fields will go to Minnesota.
Last question on this. How much do you think this new? Oh man, I put up the wrong. I just noticed I put up the wrong.
That's
thing
still
on the
relevant.
graphic, but whatever. It's going to be relevant. I mean, the cap went up, so Kirk Cousins is going to make a lot more money. Let's just finish this topic up here. How much do you think their free agency strategy changes with this new cap space?
I don't think that much. I think I just said like maybe they can go after someone they didn't think they could get before, but I think those guys are probably going to want more money because their agents are smart and they're going to be like, you can get more money now, so you should ask for more money. So I don't know how much it drastically changes it. Maybe it's easier to fill out some of your depth. Maybe go after some of the positions that don't cost as much. Like maybe now you can get an expensive kicker, I guess, or expensive punter.
Hey, how would you like to pay Harrison Butker? I don't know if he's a free agent. $30 million a year. Like
not that much, but like expensive for a kicker is like
Yeah.
$8 million a year, I think.
Right.
7 or 8, which which doesn't seem as crazy anymore because you have more money. I'd rather they spend their money elsewhere first. But something like that maybe might be where they're able to use that extra money.
There are some Viking fans that are probably like, just do what it takes to get a good kicker in here. Like we've had enough. Just do what it takes.
Doesn't matter.
How much did they spend on Longwell back in the day?
Longwell, Bailey.
Yeah, Dan Bailey was fine. Then Mike Zimmer ruined him.
Yeah, they had Carlson, and Mike Zimmer was like, nope, see you later. It's just the Vikings, anyways. Like, they could get Justin Tucker in here, and he'd miss like 5 extra points. So.
I think the Vikings in free agency, they're going to do what they did last season a little bit. Not quite to the bargain bin that they did last year, but I think they're going to look for guys in their mid-20s like Byron Murphy Jr. and Marcus Davenport. They're going to sign them to, and it could be a bigger deal. I mean, it's not like it's going to be like the 2-year deals or like the 1-year deals that they saw last year. Like, I think Justin Madubuike should be their top target. We need a grown-ass man in the trenches on defense. Not only Samar Stephen, he takes up 2 blockers. He's the real deal type stuff. I'm talking about a guy that just makes centers piss their pants. Like Garrett Bradbury going up against the practice. Like, I'm in trouble, dude. This is bad.
Dexter Lawrence.
Yes, Dexter Lawrence.
Kenny Clark.
What's the guy from Miami that's a free agent? Christian Wilkins?
Yep.
I couldn't remember his first name, but it sounds like he's going to get tagged somehow. I don't know, but you mentioned it. Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, these Kenny Clark, all these guys are just disruptors in the middle of the defense, and they're going to make your secondary even that much better. So I think guys like him at Madubuike, if they're going to spend big, that's where they should do it.
Harrison Phillips, good player. Maybe just a little too nice.
Bulk up.
He's just a little too nice.
He's too nice.
He's a little too nice.
Not a bad thing.
No.
Man of the year.
Yeah, right.
But not, on the football field, it's a bit of a problem.
I need you to bite some kneecaps, okay?
Yeah, or just play left end instead of like right in the middle because it doesn't seem to be good. You know what else they could do with that money? Pay Kirk Cousins. Some of you may have heard the whole Kirk watch thing somewhere else, by the way, and I think it's great because I came up with it. So, like, aren't you gonna fight? No, I'm not gonna fight at all. It's one of the biggest Vikings platforms there is. Like, I was clearly onto something.
We didn't trademark it.
Yes, I know. We should have taken the time to do that. You know where it comes from, right?
No.
You should know this because this movie was set in San Diego. Anchorman. Because when the panda is pregnant, they have Panda Watch and Brian Fantana, who's played by Paul Rudd.
We're getting pandas back, by the way. San Diego hasn't had pandas in like 3 years. Well, not like the black and white ones. We've had red pandas, but like we haven't had them and coming back this year.
So there is a Panda Watch going on in San Diego.
Right.
I'm sure the local stations have tried to get a word with them, but they will literally rip their face off. They're live bear.
Pandas are pretty cool. They just sit there and eat bamboo all day.
Yeah, that's true. They're not. Yeah.
Back to Kirk Cousins.
Until next time on the Bears podcast, the actual Bears, not Chicago Bears, literal Bears. Yes. Bill Barnwell of ESPN put out some projections of the free agent class today, including Kirk Cousins. Barnwell's did some tiers, and lo and behold, there is no quarterback in the franchise tier. Hater. But Kirk Cousins was in his Pro Bowl quarterback tier, and he said this. All right, time for a little reading with Chris. Cousins is unquestionably the best quarterback on the market, though he's recovering from his first serious injury after he tore his right Achilles in late October. Before the injury, Cousins' 63.6 QBR was the 9th best mark in the league, and his 11.2% off-target rate ranked number 1 in the first half of last season, and he did it without Justin Jefferson for a chunk of that time, which was 3 games. Any team hoping to win over the next 3 years that isn't in position to land one of the top starters in the 2024 draft should be trying to pursue Kirk Cousins. That's a group that includes the Broncos, Buccaneers, Falcons, Raiders, Steelers, and Titans, with the Dolphins and Seahawks as outside candidates if they move on from their current starters. Barnwell went on to project Kirk Cousins' salary at $51 million. I'm out. How about you?
Yeah, no thanks. Not happening.
That seems like a robust market. Like, everybody was kind of like, oh, he tore his Achilles and now he can get him back for 1-year deal at $30 million. No, that shit's not happening. Like, he is in full head of the negotiating table mode, doing, throwing footballs at a tennis court near you and just kind of like, just chilling out.
That might have been like their first offer from Kirk's representation, and like, 2 years, $100 million. And the Vikings are like, what? No. So you're told to, like, I don't know, when you apply for a job or whatever, you ask for money from something or whatever, you shoot high.
Yeah.
Higher than you probably would, because what you're really trying to get is something maybe like slightly below that. So like 45 a year, maybe he could get from somewhere else. Like, if I don't know if the Falcons, do they really? I don't know. I don't know a team that would give him that much money, but it is the NFL, and there are team. I mean, Russell Wilson got a lot of money when he was traded to the Broncos, but we also thought that he was still okay. But yeah, 50 million seems a little high for a guy who's gonna be 36 in week 1, coming off a torn Achilles. I know he keeps saying, I'm a pocket passer. It doesn't matter. But you also have to plant on your Achilles in the field, Kirk. So how do you think you tore it in the first place? So yeah, 50 million, a little high. Definitely Vikings would immediately say no to that.
Well, and here's where the whole like market thing kind of bites the Vikings here. Like everybody was talking, oh, well, they have more cap space now. Well, a team like Atlanta, who doesn't have a lot more needs, has that cap space.
Right.
You know, a team like, I don't know, like the Commanders and New England Patriots, those are two teams with the most cap space in the NFL right now. They got like $70 million in cap space. Like they're good to go. Nick Miller of Climb the Pocket actually pointed this out. If Kirk was coming back to the Vikings, would he be doing all of this? Would he be doing the interviews? Would he be, you know, saying the conversations don't start till March? You know, it just kind of seems like.
Yeah, are the Vikings just finding out with his video clip that his Achilles is doing well? They haven't had any updates before then?
Right. Like Kirk hasn't gone to the facility and thrown a football there.
Right. He doesn't.
Like, Quasey's just listening to one of his top 5 rappers of all time. And he's just like, oh man, did you see? Send it to Kevin O'Connell. Like, hey, did you see this? He's throwing.
He's still technically under contract, so he can use their facilities and stuff.
Yeah. But his key card no longer works. That's another thing. I don't know that, but you know,
not until March 11th.
Not until the conversations start. Right. Apparently,
I did see something too where I think the guy you mentioned was named Nick Miller. That the Vikings can't really even sign Cousins to a new deal until free agency begins because you can't give someone like a raise within if another contract has been signed or renegotiated within a year. I think is the deal or whatever that was renegotiated last year happened within the year, so the Vikings have to wait until free agency anyway. So maybe that's why Cousins has been like, well, we can't really talk until March. Well, you can work out the details.
Yeah, the base or whatever.
And then
like that's the other thing too. I don't think people like realize, and like I think I incorrectly assume this too. The 28 million or whatever it is, that's a void year. That is just there.
It's like there, it doesn't, no matter what.
You can't bake it into a contract. That's what I thought you could do. Like you just say, well, we have 28 million, so we'll just add that to the no. Like that goes at the end of the contract. So you have like, if he signs a 2-year deal, you're, you know, paying 28.5 million 2 years after that expires.
There is a way it can go down. If he signs an extension before, I think it's March 11th, but he gets a lower per year average, I think, than he had before, which he's not going to do.
No.
And
here's the thing, like he
signs a new deal, and you have whatever his cap it is for next year plus that 28 million. So like,
and he could. I mean, it just takes a phone conversation for him to be like. And I'm not saying like this. I'm sure he wants to come back. Like I don't think it's like I hate the Vikings. Like screw them. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I don't think there's any animosity here. But I mean, it would just take one phone call to be like, hey, Mike, like I've made a lot of money. Like I want to go back to Minnesota. I'm comfortable there. I love it there and everything else. I mean, we've heard that elsewhere in the Viking sphere, but I mean, that's true. But when you look at the bridge options, you know, you could either pay Kirk Cousins, you know, if we're going off the 50, what is it? So it's like a $70 million, you know, per year, not per year salary, but I mean, whatever it is, add another 28.5 on it.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what's going on right now. And then you see
fully guaranteed. Yeah. And then you'd have to add like 9 void years.
Right. I mean, you look at some of the bridge options, like we have the Vikings linked to Sam Darnold by Tom Pelissero. The Athletics' Vic Tafer, who is the Raiders beat writer for them, he says Jimmy Garoppolo was penciled in as a potential replacement for Kirk Cousins.
Like what he said about him, though, how he could spray it all over the field. I haven't heard that.
No, that's a bit of a banned term. Also, my apologies to the YouTube audience. My contacts are kind of performing a rebellion here. So if I'm like rubbing my face and my eyes, that's what's going on right now.
You're not getting emotional about Kirk?
Yeah, just watering up right now. Just tears of I don't even want to call it joy. Like I don't wish bad will against Kirk. It's just kind of like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I've said it over and over again. Like you look at some of these options, like Russell Wilson for 1.3 million. I mean, yeah, he's weird, but I mean, that type of money, 1 or 2 years, that's a bridge quarterback right there.
Did you see what he said recently?
What's that?
He wants to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years.
So he's not coming here.
I don't know where he's going and doing that.
Yeah, I
As a starter.
Yeah, well, let's look at hold on. So Broncos, that's a nope. He's not going there. Tampa, they made the playoffs last year. The Falcons,
But they would rather have Baker Mayfield.
Yes, they would definitely rather have. The Falcons might rather have Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Or
The
Justin
Raiders,
Fields.
no. Steelers, no. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak for the Steelers, right? Or no.
Raiders.
Raiders.
No, Saints.
Yes.
Saints.
Saints. Yes. Congratulations, I guess. And to Saints fans, I'm sorry.
Who else went there that was with the Vikings? The old run game coordinator for the Vikings went with Kubiak. The old guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Kennedy Polamalu?
No. The guy who didn't want to get the stuff in his arm during COVID, who had to leave. Rick
gotcha.
Dennison.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's back. He's with Coobs. Little Coobs.
Little Coobs. Not Big Coobs. Big Coobs is somewhere on his ranch. Just chilling. And yeah, boys, I used to coach John Elway in the Super Bowl. Trophies. Hey, some of these other options that Barnwell listed. He has another tier. It's called borderline starters / high-end backups. Jacoby Brissett, Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston, Jimmy Garoppolo, $9 to $13 million. I think Baker Mayfield's going to make more than that, but I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at. And I did notice somebody replied to you today and said, this is what you wanted. You wanted Jimmy Garoppolo and you don't want to win. You want to, like, here's the other, like, anytime I mention Kirk Cousins leaving, like, they're like, well, the sky's falling. Tank. Like, no, they're not tanking. Like,
they haven't been doing anything with him.
They won 7 games with Josh Dobbs out there.
Well, they were 4-4 with Cousins.
Yeah. Like,
this is what you get. You get 500 football if he leaves.
There's a video out there too. It's like some guy playing Madden, and I guess they just jacked up Cousins' attributes to like all 99s. So he's like running, he's like doing the Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl thing. He's like, "Come on, Kirk Cousins! Come on, Kirk Cousins!" That's what some of these people think Kirk Cousins like is in real life. Like he's just this all 99 Madden club player that is bulletproof.
And I want people to go and look and see some of the quarterbacks the Vikings have made the playoffs with in their history. You got like Tavares Jackson, Christian Ponder, Brad Johnson, Randall Cunningham when he was like 36, Jim McMahon when he was like on the end of his career, Tommy Kramer. Like they'll be fine, okay? Case Keenum, okay? Teddy Bridgewater, they'll be fine.
We love us some Case Keenum too,
right? Like the sky is not falling if Kirk Cousins goes away. I put out a post the other day on Twitter about like, once you realize that like a lot of some of the most vocal people on Twitter started rooting for the Vikings, 2018 or later, then it's a lot easier to understand, why people are the way they are. And a lot of people are like, you know what, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I know, because everyone's like, oh no, Kirk Cousins.
They like him and he likes us.
It's
they really
fine.
Like
it's
us.
Fine that they like him, and I understand. Like, I was super pissed when they wanted to trade Randy Moss because he was really probably like my first favorite player. Still really is. And so when they traded him, I was like, what are they doing? They're like, they're never going to win again. And you know what? They were okay.
2 or 3 years later, but they were fine.
Yeah.
They almost made the playoffs that year. Like Dante's knee exploded, and then Brad Johnson came out of nowhere. And I guess that's kind of adding to the point. Like Brad Johnson came in and like, all right, guys, got my walker. Let's do this. And like,
well, and everyone looks at last year and they're like, oh, well, we're just going to do what we did last year and have 3 different random No one wants to do that. No one wants to play 4 different quarterbacks. That's never the plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but basically, they just need to draft somebody. The bridge quarterbacks, like you read those names, and every name I'm like, like that who's the guy from Larry David, the Larry David GIF where he's like,
Gardner Minshew, just
Like just draft somebody. Just draft somebody.
well, this week's a perfect week to formulate some opinions as the NFL scouting combine is taking place. It will go down Indianapolis this week. I think it runs through the weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Thursday through Sunday, I think.
Yes, it's a place where executives will go to St. Elmo's and talk about their pending free agents or even guys they want to sign. What's that?
What's that? Sesame Street? Elmo?
Not that St. Elmo's. There's a little bit more. So like I heard too, there's like St. Elmo's and then there's like a knockoff St. Elmo's. So it's not as the shrimp cocktail apparently is like the thing to get.
Never been a fan of that.
Not a cold shrimp guy.
I need it fried.
Okay, I was gonna ask if you're a warm shrimp guy or you just don't like it.
You know what? I can eat it warm without breading. Give me some butter or something. I can do it.
Some shrimp Alfredo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, be a little rich for the blood, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
I always go mac and cheese, and then you get the andouille sausage in there, and then you have shrimp with it and a little bit of hot sauce. And like, I don't know, it's probably gonna kill me in like 5 years, but I mean, it's still super good. But
sounds like heartburn.
Yes, it's tremendous. You got to make sure at my age, you got to make sure you get the Prilosec out there. And yes, Viking AIDS podcast presented by Prilosec. Which position groups are you interested in at this year's combine?
Oh, kicker, quarterback, obviously. But at this point, I think JJ McCarthy's throwing. I think he's one of the few that's actually throwing this week. Pretty much everyone else is like, nah, not gonna do that. Which I don't blame them because they're throwing to guys they've never thrown to, and so. But some guys just want to throw. They don't even care. They're like, whatever, I'll just throw. Quarterbacks, receivers. I don't think we're thinking about receivers a lot because they got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but they need a third guy. Especially since Hawkinson's going to be banged up for the first part of the year. They need someone. I don't think KJ Osborne's going to come back, so they need. And Jalen Naylor's not probably going to fill that role. Brandon Powell maybe will come back and do that, but I think receiver would be interesting. At least someone you could find someone maybe on day 3. Puka Nacua was drafted on day 3, so you can find somebody. Stephon Diggs too, I believe. Mm-hmm. So receiver, and then on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, edge rusher's obvious. I feel like they need more depth at corner, so I would look at those as well. But at the same time, like, what do you even look for in the combine? Like at this point, because 40 times, I think a lot of us are familiar enough or smart enough to look at 40 times and be like, okay, that's just like one element of a prospect. That's no longer like back in the day when the Raiders would draft Darius Hayward-Bay because he ran like a 4.35, but couldn't catch. That seems to be important when you're a receiver. But like nowadays, it's like, okay, they run a 4.3 in the 40, but what's their 10-yard splits and 20-yard splits and 30-yard splits, things like that. Like I think there's a lot smarter people that pay attention to that sort of stuff than there used to be. So watching the combine, obviously, I think I pay attention more to the commentary more than the actual stuff going on the field. Like when Steve Smith's talking or Daniel Jeremiah's on there, I think I pay attention more to that stuff. But yeah, I'll watch some of it, but I'm not going to like push, things aside, move things on my calendar to make sure I'm watching the combine this weekend. No.
Yeah, I mean, when you see a guy with a fast 40 time, it kind of encourages you to like take a look. Like, all right, is this guy good or just really fast?
Right.
You were joking about kickers. Like, what kind of drills would they have for like the kicker?
Yeah,
like,
kick this ball.
Just bring a whole. All right, we're gonna fill this stadium up, and like everybody's just gonna scream, game-winning Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And by the way, here's Chris Jones with like nobody in front of him to stop him.
Listen, our kicker can run a 4.2. Okay.
Yeah.
What can your kicker do?
Okay. Our kicker could bench 230 45 times. Like what are you doing?
Dan Campbell would take that and he'd be like, kicker can run 4.2. We can run some jet sweeps and some fake field goals with that kicker.
We need a head coach combine. Like,
Yeah,
Andy Reid won a pass punt kick
he
contest
did a
back in the day.
long time ago.
And if you haven't seen the video, it's freaking
It's hilarious.
hilarious because he's like
He doesn't
bigger than
fit in the
everybody else.
uniform.
But like Dan Campbell in the bench press, just like, he's got his mentality like, all right, bro, let's go. I had like 3 venties this morning for this shit. Just like boom, boom, boom.
There's a lot of guys like that, like Dan Campbell, D'Amico Ryans, Robert Saleh is pretty jacked, I feel like.
Sean McVay could kill it, I think.
Well, he's got short arms, so maybe he can do it well on the bench because he doesn't have to push him as high. But yeah, there's a lot of guys now that are like, even Kevin O'Connell, he's pretty tall and fit.
Right.
But yeah, it's and who's a Gerard Mayo? I feel like he's probably still not exactly playing shape, but he probably do some drills pretty well. Was it Hard Knocks where Dan Campbell was doing push-ups? Did you watch that season?
Yeah. I mean,
Or he
I think
like
everybody watched that season. They're like, this Dan Campbell guy's awesome. And then he like went for it on every 4th down under the sun, and people were like, this guy, I don't know about this guy. So like I said, you're obviously looking for the quarterbacks at the combine, but not a lot of them throw anymore. There are 3 jackrabbits at the combine. You got Isaiah Davis, running back, who nice little, maybe like a late round pick.
South Dakota, right?
South Dakota State.
Oh,
if you say South Dakota, my sister made that mistake a while ago when she was, I think it was like Iowa State and somebody playing in the Big 12 title game. And she goes, oh yeah, Iowa's playing. I'm like, if you say that in the wrong part of Iowa, you're screwed. Like
Michigan State.
Yeah. If you go to Iowa City and go, oh yeah, it's Iowa. And you're like, no, that's not Iowa. That's
different.
Iowa.
Way different.
Black and yellow. Garrett Greenfield, offensive tackle, guard, Mason McCormick. I'm interested in the running backs. Like I am not going to let this running thing like go. I am one of the few people who are like, running backs do matter. Like if you don't have a running game, it's a problem. And usually if you have a running game, you have a very good running back behind it. I would rather draft one than pay one in free agency because I know Tony Pollard's a target. Some people have kicked around the idea of signing Saquon Barkley, which would be fun, but I don't think I like Barkley from the standpoint where he's a dog, as the kids say, right? Like he's going to go out there, go give 100% and everything else. But I mean, the injuries and everything, all the stuff that he's had, it's just kind of like, nah, I'd rather kind of go take a guy in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round and plug him in. Hell, maybe even take a guy in like the 6th or 7th round. Like
they still have Dwayne McBride.
Dwayne McBride could be coming any second now.
They had a starter grade on him.
Are the red out of his eyes like the Terminator? Sorry, Thor.
Well, like Ty Chandler, he didn't play at all when he was a rookie, right? Not really.
No.
I think maybe week 18 when they played all their subs against the Bears. But then this year got more playing time, so maybe same thing, Dwayne McBride. Hopefully, because they said they had a starter grade on him. But yeah, I'd rather have them draft someone too because they have the needs that they have. The money could be spent better on those, like defensive line, edge rusher, like that. If you're going to spend your money, spend on that stuff, guard, center, maybe. Because like if you're not going to pay Dalvin Cook the money that he was okay with making, they're not paying for Barkley or Josh Jacobs or Tony Pollard. So,
yeah.
Maybe there's some other guys like how much do you think like Austin Eckler would cost? Like I think he might be interesting to.
Well, and here's another interesting thing. The Vikings went after David Montgomery last offseason,
right?
And he wound up getting $6 million. So I don't know, like if Eckler's cool with making $6 million or something. I mean,
because I think he'd be interesting. I think he'd be.
He would definitely improve that screen game.
Yeah.
It's like right now, it's just like
That's the thing too with like running backs. I'm like, does it even matter who they have back there? Because it's just gonna suck anyways. Because Kevin O'Connell doesn't really know how to call an effective run game.
The running playbook is just filled with screens.
And is it even his fault? Is it the person who's in? Because I think they have a run game coordinator. I think maybe the running backs coach is the run game coordinator. Maybe is it more in the fault of them? I don't know, but that's something. And I feel like with the way that with what Sean McVay did last year and switching his run game, I feel like Kevin O'Connell is going to be like, maybe we should try something else. And look what Sean did. Try that.
Power.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing too. It's like the power on the Vikings roster, it's just not there. Like Sean McVay went power, and Kyron Williams is like one of the best backs in the NFL right now. I don't know how long it'll last because he's kind of small, but
right.
it's
If they went power,
good.
Alexander Madison would probably be a lot more effective.
I would agree with that.
If he hung on to the ball too.
He's gonna be on the roster next year. Like, I think he should get a shot. Like, that sounds crazy coming from me. But you know what I mean? Like, if you change the scheme and go, hey, you probably weren't best for his zone, because that's like this game. It's like straightforward. He doesn't get a lot of yards after contact, but I mean, he
can run
see
people
the
over.
hole and go, not see 4 holes and pick the right one.
He breaks tackles, but he just has to do it. He has to break tackles in the backfield because he's not fast enough to get out of the backfield before the defense gets there.
And you also have an offensive line who lets opposing rushers into the backfield.
Garrett
Bradbury, Dalton Reisner. Are you bringing Reisner back?
I think he's going to get a good offer somewhere else and be out of the Vikings price range. There's a couple, like, who's the guy from the Rams that is it? Kevin Dotson, is that his name?
Yes. I was going to say Zeitler, but no, Dotson's. Yeah.
So they go after him, or I think there's another Brad Allen. I think he just got released and he was with the Rams when Kevin O'Connell was there. But yeah, I don't know about Reisner coming back. I think he would like to. I think he enjoyed his time with the Vikings, but also at the same time, if you're the Vikings, do you really want to pay? Like it took them so long to bring him in last year, and he was like in the summer, he was like, "I want to play here, I want to be here." And they're like, "Okay,
yeah, great. But we got Ezra Cleveland."
Yeah, great. Then they signed him, and they sat him on the bench. So like, I don't know. His price depends on it for sure.
It took a lot. Let's wrap things up here. What's going on at the Viking Age right now, man?
Well, we're getting ready for the combine. Obviously, like I said, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are speaking tomorrow. I don't have the exact times in front of me, but I know they're both speaking tomorrow, and I think it's within like 15 or half an hour of each other. I think Kevin O'Connell goes first, and then like 15 or 30 minutes later, Kwesi's on the podium too. So we'll hear from them. Not so like it's more Rick Spielman responses than it is Mike Zimmer responses from the current regime up there. So I wouldn't expect to learn a whole lot. I'm sure they're going to get asked about Kirk Cousins, and I'm sure they're going to be very, very, very political about it and be like, "Oh, we'd love to have Kirk back, and we got to negotiate and see what works for both sides."
How I feel about Kirk. Sometimes I just think of Kirk. Just
a consummate professional. He just goes about his job the right way. We're gonna hear that. We should do like combine press conference bingo. I feel like.
Oh. Like if I didn't want to watch Raw tonight, I would totally make a combine press conference bingo.
There's so many cliches that are going to be said tomorrow. So we'll write some takeaways probably and have those up on Wednesday. And then of course we'll have more stuff on free agency. Keep an eye on anything in the combine that happens. There's obviously going to be rumors and stuff, probably about Kirk to come out this week. So we'll keep up to date on that. And a bunch of other stuff that we always like to write about.
And where can people follow you on social media?
Social media. You can find me at Adam Patrick NFL on Twitter and on Threads.
There you go. Twitter, the most important thing ever, or X as some people call it. I saw, I don't know if you saw this, but Thor's tweet on it. He's like, me and the gallows. They're like, you can walk if you just call it X.
Did you see the
Twitter?
Did you see the post he had where he censored the image? No. And it was like Aaron Rodgers. He posted like an image of, he's like, there's this quarterback who people weren't really high on, who was in an offense that ran a lot and he didn't get to pass a lot. But it's so sensitive. I don't want to show anybody. So he put like the sensitive image blocker on it. And you have to click OK or whatever to see it. It was a picture of Aaron Rodgers at Cal.
Here, let me do this before I drop my slot. I know I was saying we were wrapping up, but I just wanted to hit this now that you mentioned. And he's on the thumbnail for this episode on YouTube.
Oh, JJ.
JJ McCarthy. Like what you mentioned he's gonna throw.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of him?
I'm fine. I'm fine with him if they get him. It seems like a lot of people have said he would fit the offense that the Vikings run, the McVay Shanahan scheme. Fitting in there with the play action and throwing on the run and stuff like that. He's accurate. He seems to be able to throw under pressure. I know he didn't throw a lot at Michigan, but he didn't have to because Harbaugh likes to run the ball a lot. But when he did have to throw in third down situations, he seemed to come up a bunch. So like these at first I'll be honest, when I first heard about JJ McCarthy, and even before like the college football season ended and people were like, oh, maybe he's a guy that the Vikings go after. And I'm like, but he doesn't even throw the ball. Like, why? Michigan doesn't even trust him. Why would he be good? And it's like, but they didn't. It wasn't the fact they didn't trust him. They just didn't need him to do that stuff. If you go even back to like Stanford with Jim Harbaugh, he kind of did something similar with Andrew Luck, and he did that with Andrew Luck, where they ran the ball a bunch.
And nobody complained about that.
No. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what he does this week. I don't think it's really going to change my opinion on what he does. Of course, if he balls out or whatever, his stock's going to go higher. I do think if the Vikings want to get him, they're going to have to trade up. Yeah. I think probably to 5 with the Chargers. I think.
I have heard a rumor that Harbaugh would take McCarthy at 5.
What?
That he would just say long term, short term. So
Justin
Herbert, and then
I don't think the Chargers owners would do that. I don't think they would okay that. They just invested a lot of money in Justin Herbert. I don't think they would.
And that's the thing with the Chargers owners is they don't open up they're like the Twins owners, right? They don't open up the purse strings a lot.
They paid for Harbaugh, but they're not going to be like, yeah, we're not going to pay for you so you can sabotage our quarterback and we still have to pay for him. So, yeah, I'd be very surprised. We've heard a lot about New England trading down. I think I saw something. I think Jeremiah said it would take like 3 first-round picks to. I think it was a question about the Vikings, what it would take like to trade up, and he said 3 first-round picks, like one this year, next year, and the year after. And if you get a quarterback who can play, almost immediately and be your franchise, and you get that rookie scale contract, I don't really care how many first-round picks it really takes. Like, obviously not like 6 or 7.
Well, you don't need the first to be hits.
Right. It's going to be worth it.
You can go out, you can fix your weaknesses in free agency, and you can just have your new franchise quarterback lead you to victory.
Right. And you also don't know what's going to happen in the future. You could trade Christian Darrisaw down the line and get a first-round pick or something like that if things don't work out. So, it's just because you trade away a first-round pick now doesn't mean you won't have one down the line.
Look at the Wolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the best team in the West, and they traded 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. A little different in the NBA, but, same energy there. Just go all in, trade. They traded like half their roster, too, to bring him in. Like last year, it was like, get him out of here. And now it's like,
it didn't,
whoa.
It didn't look good last year. This year's better. But no,
teammates.
I'm fine with McCarthy. Actually, he I just wrote about it before we came on the Viking Age, how he's the consensus pick for the Vikings within the last week based on like all the mock drafts that have come out. He's the pick now, which usually tells you that people are, they're either hearing stuff or they're picking up on stuff. Like the Vikings like this guy and they want to go after him. So I'm fine with if they pick him.
And I'm curious too to see how he rises after the draft. Because like sitting down, doing the interviews and that sort of stuff, does he wind up becoming a top 5 quarterback? I
heard he's a little weird. A little out there. He does do didn't he like meditate or something?
Meditation, yeah.
But whatever. A lot of people meditate these days. Who cares? Kevin O'Connell's from California. He should meditation is like, he shouldn't give a shit about that.
Some people take darkness
He
retreats
he
and
he might like that.
Yeah, like do the ayahuasca thing. As long as they don't show up like high on it on Sundays, I don't really care. But
Is that where Kirk's been this offseason?
maybe
That's how he's been doing his
that
rehab?
was Aaron Rodgers' advice. Like, have you tried ayahuasca? That sounds like a sit. No, it's not. Trust me.
we didn't really
I am your God now.
We kind of glossed over Kirk's video too about how like, what do you know? It came out today. Hey guys. Achilles.
Hey.
If you slow it down,
he should just do a video where he just turns around, points to the back of it, and gives a big ass thumbs up. Like, it's good, guys. Look at the cap.
And I think I saw some people were like, yeah, he's just showing it off to Vikings fans. Like, oh yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap this shit up. You already mentioned all your stuff. I'll mention mine. Follow me at The Real Chris Schad. I'm on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm on TikTok. I posted some Kirk Cousins offseason highlights on there earlier today. Some guy said, oh, there's nothing good coming out of this guy's mouth. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Fuck you, first of all. But thank you for watching.
Yeah.
But
subscribe.
Yeah, and I'm on Instagram too. I'm trying to do more Instagram stuff, so that's a lot of fun. But that is all the time we have for the Viking Age podcast today. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. However you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.